After the goddess Durga destroyed the demon king Mahishasura, his sister Mahishi was consumed by a vengeful fury. She turned her rage toward the heavens, determined to dismantle the order the gods had fought to protect. Mahishi withdrew to perform years of grueling penance. Her commitment was so intense that Lord Brahma was eventually forced to manifest before her, offering a boon of her choosing to end her austerities. Mahishi requested a specific biological contradiction, to only be killed by a child born from the union of Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu. Since both are male, she believed she removed herself from the laws of nature, a guarantee of immortality. Believing she was beyond the reach of death, Mahishi began a violent campaign across the cosmic realm. Her power was so great that the gods were left with only one option. They had to manifest the very child Mahishi thought could never exist. To meet the conditions of the boon, Lord Vishnu took the form of the enchantress Mohini. Through this divine union with Lord Shiva, the paradox was resolved. The child was born, Lord Ayyappa, known as Manikandan. He was the only being in the universe satisfying the requirements of Mahishi's death warrant. The gods chose to hide him in plain sight. They placed the infant in a forest with a golden bell around his neck, where he was discovered by King Rajasekara of Pantalam. The childless king adopted him, raising the divine child as a mortal prince of his own house. For years, Manikandan lived the life of a royal heir, training in the arts of war and governance. He remained unaware of his cosmic identity, even as the time for his inevitable meeting with Mahishi drew closer. The peace of the palace was broken when the queen gave birth to a biological son. Fearing Manikandan would take the throne, a royal minister convinced the queen that the adopted prince was a threat to her own child's future. The conspirators staged an elaborate ruse. The queen feigned a deadly illness, and a bribed physician claimed the only possible cure was the milk of a nursing tigress, a task meant to ensure the prince would never return. King Rajasekara was paralyzed with grief, but Manikandan remained calm. He promised his father he would return with the milk, and without any guards or weapons, he walked alone into the dense jungle. The minister believed he had successfully eliminated a rival. He didn't realize that his petty palace coup had actually set the stage for the fulfillment of a divine prophecy. As Manikandan moved deeper into the trees, the physical world began to shift. The mundane dangers of the forest fell away as the spectral bhutas of Lord Shiva emerged to escort him. They guided the prince beyond the veil of the mortal world and directly into Devaloka, the heavenly domain where Mahishi reigned. Manikandan confronted the demoness immediately. He seized her and cast her down from the heavens, sending her falling through the clouds back toward earth. They struck the earth, shaking the ground for miles. A ferocious battle broke out, Manikandan's strikes carrying the combined weight of his divine lineage. Finally, the prince forced Mahishi to the ground. He mounted her chest and began the Tandev, the dance of destruction that signaled the end of her reign. The rhythm of his feet sent tremors through both the earth and the heavens. The physical environment around them began to buckle under the sheer energy of the divine dance. In her final moments, Mahishi saw the truth. The loophole she had relied on was her undoing. She had been defeated by the one being she believed was a biological impossibility. With Mahishi's death, the cosmic mission was complete. Lord Shiva appeared to his son, confirming that his purpose for taking human form had been fulfilled. To help Manikandan complete his earthly quest, Lord Indra took the form of a massive tiger. Other deities joined him, transforming into a pack of tigresses to provide the milk the prince had promised his mother. At the palace, a crowd gathered in shock as Manikandan emerged from the forest. He was riding on the back of the massive tiger, followed by a pack of wild predators. The minister's plot was exposed by the sheer majesty of the return. A visiting saint identified the boy on the tiger, revealing his identity as the divine son of Shiva and Vishnu. This revelation replaced the king's fear with a new understanding of his adopted son's purpose. Manikandan informed the king that his time in the mortal world was over. He had fulfilled his duties to both his earthly father and the gods, and it was time for him to return to his celestial home. King Rajasekara made a final request. He asked for a place where he could build a temple so that future generations could seek Manikandan's blessings. Manikandan drew his bow and released a divine arrow into the air, telling the king to build the temple wherever it landed. The arrow flew over the forest and struck the ground in the rugged, remote Sabari hills. This strike marked the location of the Sabarimala temple. Today, that mountainous site serves as a sanctuary where millions of pilgrims follow in the footsteps of the prince to honor the deity who bridged the gap between the mortal and the divine.